Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. In today's episode, I'm joined by Barry, and it's going to be a really cool episode because we're not only going to be speaking about Barry's autism journey, we're going to be speaking about a great interest of ours, Doctor Who. So it's going to be a
Hello.
really good episode. So, hi, Barry.
Hello. Sorry, I think I sort of jumped in a little bit early
No,
there. So yeah, it's an absolute pleasure and that. So yeah, glad to be on the show,
no,
Mason. Thank you for inviting me.
no worries. And no worries for jumping in, Barry. I know you're excited.
Yeah, I am. I get very excited very, very easily, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you on the show. Um, um, I guess to start off with, if you wouldn't mind, maybe just saying a little bit about when you was diagnosed with autism and stuff.
Oh yeah, this is a really, really good one that I do get asked every now and then. I was living in South London at the time, and it was back in the 1980s, and I was like probably 2 or 3 years old when my mum noticed there was, something that was a bit different about me altogether. And then she sent me to a specialist in Southeast London. And it was actually Simon Baron Cohen at the time before he went off to do Cambridge University and one of his guys. And then I think I was like 3 or 4 years old. It was like the late 1980s. And that's when my family found out I had autism. And autism during that time, I could be wrong about this, it was treated like as a new music genre sort of thing. It just came out like some sort of underground club sort of thing where it was like a new thing that was coming out. Unlike nowadays where it's getting a lot more acknowledgement, it's a bit more mainstream, which is a good thing. And yeah, that's my basic diagnosis. I was sent to a special school when I was a bit younger. And I'll be honest with you, when I was a bit younger than that, I thought everybody who was diagnosed with autism was all kids and that. But when I got a bit older, I was in for some pleasant surprises. And I knew, yeah, there were girls that had autism, but it was like, yeah, they treated it like it was swept underneath the rug. I'm just glad, though, nowadays with mainstream that they've kind of acknowledged all these different things and that at the end of the day. So there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Well, that's really interesting, Barry, because I when I was at school, I went to a special school as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was diagnosed, I was 9, and it's very similar. Like it was everyone I knew had autism was about my age, like a kid. And then it's not till maybe now, these last couple of years, start to notice more people are getting diagnosed later on in life, not just kids and children. So it's good. It's good how things are going. Like more people getting diagnosed.
Yeah, I'll say one thing though. Really, have you ever seen the program The A Word that was on the
Um,
BBC?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. If you watch those earlier episodes and how that kid got the diagnosis, it's similar to me, but except though it's set up in the north or say like the north of England in that countryside, it was similar to my one. So I had a bit of a struggle getting through those episodes, not because they were bad. It was much more, it really hit close to home. So
Yeah.
but I will get back into watching it though one day. But yeah,
Mm.
if you wanted an idea of that, about my diagnosis, it's similar to those first few episodes of the A Words. So,
Okay. Like in the process how they went about it. Um,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. Because I haven't actually watched all of it, but I have watched like the first series or something. Um, because I didn't watch it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get what you mean. And for me, yeah, well, it's not a bad show. It just felt a bit too close to home. And I felt like, you know what? I want to watch it when I feel like I feel a bit comfortable. It's like, someone who doesn't like a lot of extreme violence. And then when they see an extremely violent scene, they go like, no, no, can't watch anymore. So that's what my thing with it altogether is.
Yeah, I completely get what you're saying because it's not it would be hard to watch if it's like something that happened to you in like when you was younger.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Mm.
Yeah, but it's good that you got a diagnosis, Barry.
Yeah. I mean, I think anybody who does get a diagnosis at the end of the day, I feel very, very happy for them overall. And, the only thing I would say about nowadays, I would say with some people, it does take a lot longer on certain aspects. And I do feel sorry for some people. I don't know what's going on with that. I could go political, but I'm not going to be honest with you, because that could be a long discussion. But yeah, that's how I feel. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm glad that it's out there.
yeah, it's good. It's good to get. It's hard at start when you get your diagnosis, but as soon as you get older, you discover what it is a little bit more.
Yeah, and for you wondering though, Mason, I found out that my autism isn't too bad. It's like a mild case. So I was able to go into mainstream schooling, and that's when I received a shock about how different things were and that, and it threw me like a curveball. But I managed to try and get through that as much as I can and deal with everything going on.
Yeah, I was at mainstream a little bit as well, Barry. So I was there a year, and then it didn't work out. I tried to get out as fast as I could. Um, I had to get an EHCP to get out. And then I went to a special school for the rest of my school life. So that really helped. But yeah, it's very different. We have very different experiences, like going to a special educational school and a mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy, absolutely.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think like in the 1980s, that kind of time of life that there wasn't as much as like as much knowledge back then, was there really? Of autism.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And when I got my diagnosis, it just said I have autism, not unlike some of the terms that have come out over the years. I'm not going to say what they
Mm,
are. Like some of the people will know what they are. And, for me, I'm personally against it because it sounds like something else, though, really. Like, it doesn't sound like something of a condition. It sounds like a disease to me, really. But I'm not going to say the phrase. People will know what
yeah,
I'm on about. But,
yeah,
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 yeah. It's not nice, is it?
no.
Um, Yeah, which is why it's great to see when people like to talk about their journeys and stuff, because it is good. It's good to talk about it, because I feel like we all we sometimes get we really when we really like something, like maybe an interest, like we just like to talk about it, even if sometimes we hang around with people that don't like it, we just talk about it anyway.
Yeah, yeah, I did that. I do that as well. So I do that though nowadays as well. And you know
Yeah,
what? I've got no problems with that, and they don't mind. And if I go a bit too much, I don't mind them stopping me at the end of the day. So there you go.
yeah, yeah. It is what it is, isn't it?
Mm, mm, absolutely. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Like with your autism, Barry, like do you have anything that you struggle with? Or anything?
Yeah, I sometimes struggle with noises or say like certain sayings that people say.
Mm,
With the noise factor, if it's like an obscure noise that affects me, it can kind of like mess up my day, but I've been coping with it a lot better throughout the later years. During my childhood years, I would actually struggle with that.
yeah,
And certain sayings and that, or certain things like do I, and also sarcasm. I've actually learned about sarcasm and how it actually works out later on, where I've actually got a bit better, and I feel like I've got a bit better with doing jokes and that. But growing up, it was extremely difficult at certain times. I won't lie to you on that one.
yeah.
So yeah.
I was I was the same. Like growing up, I didn't understand sarcasm at all. I always took
Mm,
offense to everything. I always got upset. I probably cried a little bit. Like if
mm,
people tell me something, because I think it depends on the tone people are speaking to you with, um,
yeah.
as well. So they may say that it's like you never go no, really, are you? Like it's like if they're your friend, then they're joking, you more understand. But if someone's saying it, maybe in a nasty way, then they say they're joking. Perhaps they're not joking, they're just saying it, maybe just to cover their back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you mean, though, buddy. And I'll be honest with you, I never let that bother me when I was in secondary school and that. Sometimes it did, but most of the time I was like, whatever. Like, I just didn't care really. I
Yeah,
know some people would say, yeah, that's the wrong sort of attitude, but you got to have that sometimes,
yeah,
really,
you
to be
got it,
fair.
haven't you? You've got it,
Mm,
haven't you? More or less, this more impacted me. Like we get upset was in primary school, really. That kind of range, like not that far from when I did get diagnosed, because I would have been in primary school. But yeah, and then as you get older, you come to a state of mind where you think, oh, you don't care what people think of you like anymore, and you just try and get on with it, and try and just go around the people who do care about you.
Yeah, absolutely. I had that sort of mindset though when I was in my college years and also my university years. And then after I left, I realized that actually really helped me out in the long run, though, really. And going into going into my 40s now, that I'm like, you know what, I'm going to keep that mindset though for the rest of my life, really, at the end of the day. But you never know what could actually happen, though, buddy. You
You
never know.
don't, you don't, do you? It's just anything can happen. You don't. It's like in the spur of the moment. Like you don't know if something's going to affect you. Like certain noises. Like to me, I don't like noises either. So some noises,
Mhm.
um, like um, like um, like horns or like people eating loud, perhaps
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah. Yeah, I get a bit bothered by saucepans and that, like saucepan noises or the scraping of saucepan noises that are really, really loud. I'm like, but because though it's my mum doing some of the stuff, I'm like, you know what, I can't interrupt or some of that unless, yeah, I feel like it's getting a bit too much, and I'll just say, "Mum, please." Otherwise, I'm gonna have to go out or something like that. So sometimes I actually go out of the house just to make sure at the end of the day. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it can be irritating. You are absolutely right about that. Those type of noises.
Yeah, they are very irritating. I completely agree with the saucepan. I didn't think about that, but till you said it.
Mm.
Well, especially like it depends on like what's being cooked as well. If it's um, mushrooms or sort of stuff like that, perhaps like they make squeaking noises sometimes, don't they?
Yeah,
I don't really like the squeaking noise. That's quite irritating.
yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you mean, mate.
Yeah, it's not great, but sometimes there are some noises that we can deal with, and some are just we can't, can we?
Nah, of course not, mate. Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah. But it's gonna be it's great like that we can identify these things because it does take a while to maybe think if something annoys us or something that doesn't.
Mm, yeah, it does take us a while though to probably understand what's really going on with, say, like certain noises, sensory modes, and what goes on that bugs your day or something like that. Another thing that also bugs me is when things fall out of schedule sometimes, but I've actually gotten better over the years. If, say, you got a plan about what you're doing and then a last minute change happens and you go like, oh my God. Unless, yeah, I feel like it's something going on with the world and I feel like, okay, yeah, that's fair enough. But if it's like a last minute change and it makes no sense, then I've got a bit of an issue with that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, especially like I'm the same. It's annoying, isn't it? Like if you arrange something and schedules are important, especially for a lot of people who are autistic, and yeah, like sometimes if I'm doing like a podcast, for example, Barry, and it's cancelled, sometimes it's quite annoying if it's like last minute. Um,
yeah,
it's like anything. If you plan to go out for the day, you meet your friend, and you're there waiting 5 minutes, and
yeah.
then they don't turn up, and you're gonna think, "Oh, what's going on?" Like you just wasted your time. But sometimes there are reasons. There could be a reason like which are understandable. But if it's a reason like that, they just say they forgot, and that I don't think that's a good reason.
No, I totally agree with you there on that one, mate. Totally agree.
Yeah, I'm quite understandable within reasons, but if there's some that you just forget, like I know that there's certain like ways like where you can have brain fog and stuff like that, which is understandable. But
Mhm.
there's certain situations where it if you have to care to do it, really,
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely.
I think. Um, but um, but yeah, it is good though. Like a schedule is good to keep on, especially like throughout like the COVID and ongoing COVID pandemic. Like schedules would have changed a little bit, like that we were used to beforehand. So had to
Yeah.
adapt must have been like hard.
Well, yeah, I mean, with COVID, I'll be honest here. First of all, it was a bit of a nightmare, but then I found it a bit easier, especially when it came to noises and the amount of people in a room as well. That's another thing I forgot to mention. I found that kind of like a little bit of a blessing, even if COVID is a very, very bad thing, to be honest with you. And I think some people find that a bit hard. And yeah, all I could say about that. It made me feel a bit easier. I was able to pick up more work a bit more easier. But once the COVID died down, I was able to get back into my normal routine before COVID, where I thought, yeah, maybe I can carry on some of that. And then I was like, nope, can't do that. Gonna have to chill out a little bit. So yeah, but it was good. I learned a few things about myself during COVID, but I know we're going off topic here. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
No, don't
Mm.
worry about it. We tend to go off topic, don't we?
Yeah, we just did that, mate. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think that was yeah. Just before we come onto the podcast, though, guys, I thought I better mention this. Mason heard about me from his friend Thomas, who does another podcast, and I did a podcast with Thomas talking about work, and I talked about work during COVID and before COVID about my autistic mindset, and I said the exact same thing I'm saying today here with Mason though today about certain things and that. So yeah, if you're wondering about how we're talking, thank Thomas for the connection though. Thank you,
Yeah.
Thomas. Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Thank you, Thomas. Yeah.
uh,
When this goes out, we'll have to send it to him.
yeah, indeed. We will. We will. We will
Yeah.
indeed, mate. Oh God.
Yeah, we do. We will. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's great. Like the people that you can meet in the community, like friendships and stuff like that. Like Thomas, for example, there. It's good to meet all these different people who raise awareness of autism.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it's like in different ways. But the greatest thing about with autism is there's so many different spectrums. While some people panic over that, I see that as more as a blessing in that. And I will say this for one thing for the record, like if say like yeah, they found a cure for autism,
Hmm.
I would rather not be cured. I'd rather be the same person that I am um, throughout the whole thing. I don't mind if people want to get cured in that because they're worried about it being a detriment to them, and that's perfectly fine. But for me, it's been my ace in the hole altogether.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my viewpoint altogether.
Yeah. There's nothing to cure, really, is there? It's not like it's no autism is no disease. It's something that we have for a reason, and like it's the reason we find the way we do things sort of certain way, perhaps, and it's good. Like at the start, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like I think when any at whatever age you're diagnosed, I think it don't matter if you're diagnosed when we were diagnosed young, or if you're
Mm,
diagnosed a bit like later on in life.
mm,
It's I think you just identify yourself. You kind of realize who you are, like,
yeah.
and that's the best thing about it, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, because like you gotta wonder why. If you did have it, you gotta wonder why you do these things.
Mm,
Like you gotta wonder why. Well, why does certain first sound affect you? Why do you have to go out the room when like a saucepan noise is being made? Stuff like that.
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And yeah, and also addiction to having addiction to certain things or being fans of certain things, which we will talk about in a little bit. So
yeah,
yeah, we will get
yeah.
into that
We
very,
will
very soon,
definitely.
guys.
Yeah, because like you say, you do get addicted to these certain things, and some
Mm,
certain things may come across to maybe um people who don't understand autism, um that it may come across to them like you've just you can't talk about anything else. Like you can only talk about this one thing, but sometimes one thing is better than lots of other things.
yeah, absolutely, buddy. Absolutely.
Yeah, like perhaps if you like collecting stuff, like you might have a collection of stuff. It might be a collection of teddies. You might like collecting teddies. You might like collecting action figures. But it doesn't matter how old you are in life. You can collect whatever you want, really, can't you?
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's been a bit more accepted that sort of thing though now that it's really. Oh, excuse me. That collections of certain things is fine though nowadays, and I think well people still think of hoarding on certain fronts, but you know what? I think it's just people have kind of ignored that a little bit more though nowadays. But that's how I see it really at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. You've got to have a good collection. Like it's hard. It's hard. Like to it's hard to kind of express that maybe out in the public. Like if you go if you're sometimes seen collecting maybe something that acts like it's a 5-year-old or something like that. But it don't matter. It doesn't matter. Like you just got to try. You just got to try and be yourself. really, and like you say, just don't care about what anyone else thinks, Barry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would only care about certain situations if it really affected the family. But other than that, with everything else, yeah, you got to have that I don't care attitude.
Yeah.
Mm.
You definitely do, because if you don't, like you like when I was younger, I used to think I spend a lot of my time thinking about what other people would think about me in certain situations, and I was always worried about it. I was always think, what's that person going to think about me if I say a certain thing? But
Yeah.
and then you get older and then you realize you just got to try and be yourself. Like it's better to be yourself to try and not be yourself.
Mm. Mm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. But it is like within autism, it is great. Like to the amount of friends that you make I think as well, Barry, because you do. I think autistic friends, like if you have people who can't understand you, I think that they are great to have.
Mm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, have you kind of like since like got like Instagram and stuff like that? Have you seen quite a lot of people like making friends and stuff like that?
Well, for me, yeah, I'm sort of content with myself. I mean, a few years ago, I did make some friends with social media and that, and I make more friends with online sort of stuff, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I mean, that was, and also YouTube as well back in the day and that. And I don't follow too much of the new social media things like with TikTok. I mean, TikTok has its value, but for me, I'm probably old school in that, going back to social media sort of thing back in 2006, 2007 and that. But yeah, I feel kind of content though nowadays, really. But I can understand the younger generation who want to still make friends with people no matter what, whatever the background, what social media you use, and if you have a common interest in that. Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
good. But I feel kind of like content though nowadays, really, to be fair. But yeah,
yeah,
I can see why some people might want to still make friends though
yeah.
nowadays, though, really.
Yeah, you got. I think you've got to be careful, haven't you? Like who you let in. I think sometimes.
Mm,
Um, it's important because like you don't know who people are, like their background sometimes. Like online. But I do feel since I started since doing this kind of stuff like online in 20 the pandemic really, like since first lockdown. I thought
mm,
it was a good time because you had plenty of time to do stuff.
mm-hmm,
Really, you had more time in your hands.
mm-hmm.
Potentially if you like gaming, you game, or you don't
Yeah,
you do other stuff. Um, but yeah, it just gives you that more time to chill,
yeah,
and take
yeah.
take more care of yourself, like self-care.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a bit younger, going back to gaming, I used to spend lots and lots of hours of gaming when I was a bit younger. Then getting a bit older, I was like spending less. When lockdown happened and I wasn't working, I was able to catch up on, say, like some big PS4 and PS5 titles that
Mm,
needed to be played that I bought probably within 3 or 4 months. And I probably would spend like 50 or 60 hours on one particular title. You know, and I was really glad though when I got it done though, really. I was like, I was so impressed with it and that,
yeah.
so yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Well, what was the game?
It was
Bro?
it was called Judgment. It was from the team that made these Yakuza games and
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah, and yeah,
Mm,
I really enjoyed it. And then when they re-released it for PS5, I know a lot of people were so annoyed, yeah, that it didn't come with a free upgrade for that one. But because I loved it so much, I didn't mind buying it a second time though for the PS5. And then I got the sequel on PS5, and then I've been getting all the Yakuza games on PS5 since then. And that, unless yeah, it was only an exclusive physical disc on PS4 and never came out on PS5, I buy PS4. But if there was a PS5 version, I'd get it on PS5 because you get better resolution, 4K.
yeah,
Yeah,
PS5 is good.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I was so lucky to get my PS5 during that point when, during around about that time, I was really surprised. It was thanks to my family who helped to
Yeah,
get that, and so
yeah,
I
yeah,
won't deny that. So at the end of the
yeah.
day,
I was the same. I was the same, Barry. Like
mm,
that first year it came out, I got mine.
mm,
Um, but I got it for Christmas, and
nice.
I got told I didn't get it at all. I said,
Oh
I got
no.
tricked. I got tricked. I said, I kept saying to my family, like my parents, quick, get it. And then they tell me, oh, we missed it. It's gone.
Oh.
And I was, oh, and then I was thinking, of course, well, there's me thinking, I'm not getting it now. And then come Christmas Day, like towards the evening time, um, I get it, and then the first game along with it came with the Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I was first game I played.
Oh, nice. That was my first game as
Yeah,
well when I got it. What actually
yeah,
happened
yeah.
was my folks were so worried I wasn't going to get a PS5 that I might actually have a breakdown that they offered to help out with payments, for the first bit. And I was like, oh, wow, seriously? And then I got it from this independent site, which was excellent on how they deal with their PlayStation orders. As soon as I got the notification I was getting a PS5, I had 2 days to make sure I chose the right packaging instead of like 30 seconds on a lot of websites. So I was given 2 days, and then suddenly, though, I was able to get it like that. And then on the Friday, this is the strangest thing, it came on the same day 7 years prior to my PS4. So the exact day, like on November the 30th, on a Friday, and that 7 years ago was also a Friday. How bizarre is that?
Yeah, that is quite crazy, isn't it?
I just couldn't believe that. But anyway, I built up my PS5 collection to like over 100 physical copies. Now I've lost track now, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
The last game I got is a game that's coming out tomorrow physically. Again, another Yakuza game. It's like a Dragon Ishin, which is set during samurai times. And
okay.
yeah, and I'm already up to chapter 5. I don't know how many chapters there are, but yeah, I'm on that and I'm loving that game. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a gamer as well, so like I completely understand where you're coming from.
Brilliant. Cool. Cool.
Like, but when I got the PS3, I remember the exact first game I played in that as well. It was the Last of Us game when it was on PS3.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
um, I like and then they put it, and then it was eventually on PS4. But yeah, I played that, and it's great. I like all different type of action games. I'm looking forward to this year because of course you got the new Star Wars game, and then you got the other Spider-Man game coming out this year as well.
Oh
So,
yeah, that's really really
so
good. Now I've got a cool segue for you though, buddy. It's because of a topic. I've actually got myself a couple of Doctor Who games that I've actually played well just before Christmas on PS4, which was Edge of Reality
yeah,
and The Lonely Assassins. And I've got to say, for people asking me about which one I prefer The Lonely Assassins. It's because I like the FMV sequences. I'm a big FMV fan.
yeah,
For people that don't know, it means full motion video, and it's like actors and all that sort of stuff. So I was really excited about that, and also like the story behind that. And the Edge of Reality, well, it's a good idea, but I don't know. For me, Lonely Assassins to me is that Doctor Who game that I'd waited for many, many years. And I remember playing one of these earlier games called the Dalek Attack back
yeah,
on the Amiga. This was back in the early 1990s. At the time, I thought it was a pretty cool game, but when I look at it now, I go like, wow, wow. I have a different opinion of it no nowadays.
yeah.
Not in a good way, but I wouldn't say it was completely bad, but I'm like, oh wow, I actually played this back then. Jesus.
Mm. Like, but I played them two games as well. Well, the annoying thing was, but there was an actually there was a VR game called Doctor Who: The Edge of Time. Um,
Yeah,
and I played that, and I bought Edge of Reality, thinking that's going to be a completely different game. And then it's the same. The only difference is that you've got the David Tennant bit at the end of it, which is a very short bit. It's not long. Um,
yeah.
that bit, and that's the most bit I was looking forward to, because I already played all the other things that happened. But they did do the Weeping Angel thing a little bit different to the VR, so I did do bits a little bit different. But yeah, I've got to agree. I did like the Lonely Assassins a bit better, because it was probably a better story, really.
Hmm.
Because on the Lonely, on the Edge of Reality, it wasn't very good because it wasn't. You could jump, like it's very glitchy, like the controls.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially like we're doing like puzzles and stuff like that. like the laser one, for example. And if you like to get platinum on games, like Edge of Reality is probably near enough impossible, really, because of the glitches and stuff. I don't know what it's like now, but when I did play it, it was very glitchy and stuff like that. And
Yeah, there was this one puzzle. I think when you were on the ship thing and you had to do this certain puzzle within 5 minutes, and I had to consult a guide to see
yeah,
if
yeah,
that
yeah.
actually worked. And yeah, I did get the trophy thanks to that guide. But I'll be honest with you, if I normally did it, I'll be like, ah, flip this and that. But with Lonely Assassins, I was able to platinum that.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah,
Yeah, that was a good one though to platinum, to be honest with you. And I was
got
glad
secret
that
ending.
they, yeah, secret ending as well. And I'm glad that those games did get a physical copy in the end of the day. I'm a physical guy at the end of the day, so
Yeah,
that,
I do like getting them. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So there we go. And yeah, shall we go into our segue about Doctor Who? Now, I want to lead the question to you though, Mason.
Yeah.
What's your beginnings with Doctor Who? You
My,
don't mind me asking?
yeah,
Yeah.
no problem, Barry. My beginnings were late in the early 2000s. And yeah, I was 5 when I started watching it.
Mhm.
And I would have been 5 when Chris Eccleston episode. The reason I started watching it was because a family member told me about it, and I never knew anything about Doctor Who. They said you should watch Doctor Who. It's good. And I was like, is it? And then I watch it, and then yeah, that's how I started watching it. Really. What about you?
Now here's an interesting thing. I was 5
Oh
when I
yeah.
started watching it. Yeah, I know. And but however, though, it wasn't 2005. It was back in 1988. But I do have some hazy memories that I think I did watch it when I was 4. Back in 1987 with a story called Dragonfire, and Sylvester McCoy was the Doctor at that point. And I remember seeing someone's face being melted in that by the end of the story. But yeah, but that was vaguely remember that. And then it was like years later on UK Gold, which was a channel that showed all these old programs. And I watched that. I went, yeah, I might have seen it, but I'm not 100% sure. But there was a story called Remembrance of the Daleks, and it was a Seventh Doctor and eighth. The reason I was watching it because my mum could not stand Coronation Street because it was on a Wednesday night at 7:30 at night, which to a lot of fans nowadays who watched it from 2005, they think it's like a bit weird for it to be on a weekday. For me, yeah, it was just normal. So when it got to Jodie's era, when they moved it to a Sunday, I was like, yeah, fair enough. At least though it's on a different day, I accept it, because I can watch Doctor Who any day of the week and that. But yeah, I remember watching Remembrance of Daleks, being a fan of the Daleks ever since then, and always collect toys of Daleks whenever I can do. I haven't collected one though in ages on the Daleks, but if there was a special thing for the Daleks, especially with the 60th anniversary this year, I'm always going to be 20 years behind Doctor Who because I was born on the 20th anniversary year for some weird reason. And yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. But yeah, that's my beginnings. And then when it got cancelled the following year in 89, I didn't think of anything of it. And then when it came back in 2005, yeah, sorry for rambling on and on a bit. When it came back, my mom said, yeah, it came back. I said, oh, I don't know. I was one of those skeptics when it came back. And then when it got to the 6th episode, which was called Dalek, because yeah, it was an old time enemy, I was like, I'm sold back. It was just Eccleston's performance with the Daleks was just amazing to me,
Yeah.
and I was hooked back in. So, Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. It was very good. It was very good.
Hmm.
Um, like yeah, since I watched it, I've never stopped. Like with all the Doctors, it's been great. Like to watch it and to have that like interest that I find a lot of autistic people do like Doctor Who. So I found that really good. Like find a community like in Doctor Who and autism,
Yeah,
that kind of relate to one another. So we all like Doctor Who.
yeah, absolutely. And it was thanks to those sort of connections that one time I was able to write an article for a Doctor Who fan site about talking about Doctor Who and autism and bridging them together and that. And yeah, I think you are absolutely right. I think a lot of Doctor Who fans are autistic. I don't know the exact statistic, but however, though, I think it's quite a good number, in my view, quite a good number.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people are, and it's great. It's great to have those people, like who are autistic because like a lot of people relate to maybe specific Doctor Who characters in the show, maybe how they show themselves, like the character, it may show like traits of being autistic, but of course the Doctor isn't autistic, but it may show certain elements of what they do, like maybe keeping things to themselves sometimes, or maybe like just a lot of things that can relate in the show.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Absolutely, totally agree with you on that. And I think it's some sort of relation, and also people do describe autistic people as being alien. Although I don't mind whatever they say in that. And the Doctor's an alien as well, and he's trying to learn about human behavior and all that. Whatever, whoever they are, really, at the end of the day. So yeah, I get what you mean there.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely. And like, do you have a favorite Doctor, Barry, or do you just like them all?
Oh, I like every person who has played the Doctor, but if I had to narrow down my favorites, my first one would be Patrick Troughton, which was the second Doctor from the 1960s. It was just he had similar stories a lot of the time, but it was the way he was so creative and how he dealt with the situations that I absolutely love him for. And my other one is, in fact, Peter Capaldi, because again, I think he's like they're both character actors that know how disciplined and how to do a performance and to carry a story, even if the story feels very, very light, not the best material. Like some of the lines could be corny as hell and that, and they're able to give it some gravitas and that. And that's why I like both of them tremendously. But I think every actor has played their part well, even if, say, like sometimes, even if the scripts ain't the best, they all carry their own weight. But they're the two I basically watch. And I've got to give a mention to Sylvester McCoy because he is my first Doctor, though, during that time. So I've got to give him props as well. So it's more of an honorable mention because he was my first Doctor.
Yeah, you've always got to honor your first Doctor, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because for me, mine is my two kind of like favorites that I like are David Tennant and Matt Smith. They are the two
Mm,
that I kind of grew up with. But my first Doctor was Christopher Eccleston. So like with you, I will give him a mention because he is my first, and he was really good.
mm,
And they're probably my top three out of the ones I've watched. So of course I haven't watched any before that, so I can't really comment on them. But I know Tom Baker was a fan favorite, like
yeah,
of like back then. But
yeah,
that they are every Doctor is very good in their own way. But just
mm,
sometimes we like certain ones perhaps because we relate to them or where they're just similar to the way we do things perhaps.
yeah,
Or we just like them. We just like them.
yeah,
But it's great that we like you can talk about an interest, like, and not feel like you're wasting someone's time.
yeah.
And
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, because sometimes if you take maybe speak to someone about someone you like, you may feel like they're getting bored of what you're talking about sometimes, but not today, not us, Barry.
No, no, of course not. Of course not.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite monster in Doctor Who?
Oh, I've said it already, but it's in fact the
Oh,
Daleks.
it's the Dalek.
Yeah, it is the Daleks. It's just the way they just say exterminate and all that, and how they come across as well. Yeah, some of their stories are very, very samey, especially, when you watch the same thing over and over again. But what it is, it's down to the execution of how the Daleks do things. And I think that's what gets me interested with the Daleks altogether. How they do sometimes the same similar thing, but they find a new twist to them, give them new gravitas to them. And that's why I think I've always preferred the Daleks over a lot of other villains at the end of the day.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. I can
Mm.
see a Dalek poster behind you there, so I see you do really like the Daleks.
Yeah. Yeah, just in case for those, just in case, though, if you ain't seeing it, I do have a Dalek poster, and it's the old Doctor Who logo when it came out in 2005. And yeah, I think I bought that in central London when I was still living in central London. But now I live on the south coast of England though nowadays. So
Yeah,
yeah, it carried on with me. I think I bought that back in 2006. I think I've had that
yeah,
for a really long time.
yeah. Speaking about the Daleks, I've got one just here.
Nice, nice one. I think I've got one somewhere, but it's behind the curtain. I'd
Yeah.
have to go through a load of stuff. So, but yeah, I got one of those Union Jack Daleks. You know,
Oh,
when
have
they
you?
were celebrating their 50th anniversary, and it's very cool. But I was a bit worried though I might ruin the circuitry, so I had to take out the batteries as quickly as possible whenever I wasn't using it though. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, like I do like the Daleks too, but I guess that they could be my favorite. Like I do like the Whipping Angels.
Ah,
I do like them. Um,
yeah. I
they-
mean, I'll be honest with you. I respect anybody who likes the Weeping Angels. But for me, they're a little bit gimmicky, but that's just me, really, at the end of the day. But I do understand why people like the Weeping Angels. I think if you got the right storyline with them and the right tension, yeah, it will work. I think they could actually seriously work. But for me, yeah, I haven't found them to be too threatening at points. Best
yeah,
moments in Blink altogether because of the fact it was a different type of story and that. And also, I kind of like the Sally Sparrow character in
yeah.
that particular episode. But yeah, there you
It
go.
was it was a shame that Sandy Sparrow didn't come back or anything or for something because she looked like she could have been a good person to the Doctor.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember a lot of people were saying that though during the time, and I'm still wonder why she hasn't been hired by Big Finish, to do her own sort of stories. Unless she's busy carving out her own career, or she's probably giving up acting. But never know really at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. I think she's a little bit older now, isn't she? I've seen her the actor in a couple of other things. But yeah, she's
Yeah,
like like I think in that the Lonely Assassins game, she was in that. Um,
yeah. She was in that briefly, and I think they used that really, really well. I think I will admit they were positive in the Lonely Assassins game. That was the other thing as well. And
that was the main thing, like the Blink episode in like Lonely Assassins, wasn't it?
yeah, the Chibnall episode I would have put on that list, but someone spoiled how they executed their plan in the Chibnall episode when they were in that Chibnall episode in the Flux. But you know
Yeah,
what? I don't want to go too negative on the show because I'll be honest with you. While I was a bit upset about that, but I was like, you know what? They did good. They did good in that one as well. So yeah.
yeah. I think all the Weeping Angel episodes I've seen, I can't really. I don't. I think they've all done actually pretty all right. They've been good episodes.
Mm, mm,
That I've enjoyed.
mm.
I would like to see some villains, older villains that haven't been in for a little bit. I would like to see the Vash and the Rada. I would love to see them back again.
Yeah. I like that one, and I think that gave birth though to River Song and that. And I'm just trying to think of a new villain that came out during new series Who without actually going into classic because I remember more of the classic villains more
Mm,
than the new series and that. And
yeah,
oh god, yeah, all I can think is classic series villains. I mean, I've always liked the Ice Warriors really because they were more like gangsters that follow a code. So, say,
oh
like,
yeah,
for example, even if they have differences in their own race, but if one of their own brothers or sisters get hurt, they will come after those people who harmed them and forget about their past worries and that. I think that's another reason why I like them. But a new series villain,
Well,
oh,
what about the Slovene?
oh, the farting ones. Oh,
Yeah,
you know what? I will say this: they're better in the Sarah Jane adventures. A
yeah,
lot better in those in the Sarah Jane adventures because they feel a bit more kiddie villains. But I will say this though, really, when it comes to spin-offs, I think Torchwood was very, very good, but
hmm.
I prefer the Sarah Jane adventures.
Yeah. I did like the
Yeah,
Sarah Jane Adventures.
yeah, and because when I was a bit younger, I would have VHS tapes of some of Sarah Jane's episodes, and the same thing though with UK Gold as well. And then when they were going to do our own show, I was like, you know what, flip it. I don't care if I'm an adult. I want to watch this kid show at the end of the day, and I loved it more than a lot of adult shows at
Mm.
the time.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely.
Mm,
Like
mm,
I think at the moment, like for the future of Doctor Who looks really bright because I think there's going to be some more spin-off shows coming, which are going to be in the works. So that's really exciting to see some more shows like that.
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, it's good though that they had that partnership with Disney Plus, which yeah, it was always going to be business, but so many people were worried about creative. And nah, I think it'll be all right at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
I think things look very, very bright coming back to Russell T Davis again. So there you go.
It's very exciting to see what's going to happen. Like of course we've got David Tennant back for a little bit, and then we've got Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor, and we've got like Donna Noble coming back as well. So it's really exciting, like for the 60th this year, and then Series 14 come next year.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Ncuti Gatwa, to me, I think yeah, he could be one of my favorites based on his charisma. I've seen him in different stuff. I've seen him in a video game, in some cutscenes on a video game.
Oh
And I
yeah,
thought, man, yeah, it's the game is called Grid Legends. It's a racing game or something like that that was released around about the time that he could have been hired to be the Doctor. It was around about February last year. That's
oh
when he said,
really?
yeah, he actually got the part for Doctor Who, and he was just so charismatic. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him in that. I've seen him in clips of Sex Education, and I thought he stole the show in that as well. So I was like, damn, he knows what he's
Yeah,
doing. So
he's I think he's permanently left Sex Education now. Um, I think
yeah,
he's gone there now, so he has more time to be in Doctor Who.
yeah, I think he just finished filming
Yeah,
the fourth series. So I think that was around
yeah,
about a week ago. So
yeah, yeah.
as we're
Not long
recording
ago.
this, though, guys, because just in case, though, if Mason has any delays with the podcast, we're doing this on the 20th of February, 2023. Just
Yeah,
in case for those, just in
yeah.
case.
Yeah, definitely, because this episode, as we're speaking, is out in April, so it will be a couple of months later. So as we're speaking, just recently finished filming, like
Hmm.
last week, as you say. But yeah, I agree. Like I think he's gonna be up there with one of my favourites as well. As soon as he was appointed, Ncuti as the Doctor, I knew I was gonna like it. I knew I was gonna really like Doctor Who, and I'm just really interested to see who the show, like the music person is going to be, that the music composer. So,
Yeah.
music for me, I don't know, if same for you, Barry, but music and autism really relates, and I love the soundtrack of Doctor Who, like with Murray Gold for the last 10 or so years,
Yeah.
but I just want the music like that to be similar to that, that kind of tune. I really liked it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. He is definitely up there in terms of music. When I go back to Classic Who, there was this Australian composer back in Classic who really became famous during the Pertwee years, but then, I think he was only up till the late Baker years. His name is Dudley Simpson, and he did these great atmospheric music that was actually really, really good. And whatever instrument he could deal with, he could deal with it really well, whether it was electronic or that. Same as with Murray Gold, they knew what to do with different instruments and sounds to put them together. So, yeah, I would say they were my two favorite composers. But I do understand why people say Murray Gold is one of the best, because he knows how to build atmosphere. He knows how to build the tension, especially the music in the Part in the Waves, which is the series one finale. Well,
Oh
Bad Wolf and
yeah,
the Part in the Waves.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was so well done. The tension and that he was able to get the right pitches with the
yeah,
music, and that's the one thing I will say. And also when David Tennant was leaving and they had that music for his regeneration, I thought that was so well done as well.
it's
So
so
I
many different
could,
music, isn't there?
yeah,
Like, yeah,
absolutely, yeah. And I
I
totally
loved
agree with
it.
you about autism and music. Yes, absolutely. It's the same thing though when I listen to a great bit of music on certain video games. I mean, it's like with Super Mario Brothers and all these different games that I can recognize with soundtracks. I digress.
Yeah, that all that, like music is involved in everything, isn't it? Like you watch a film, if you watch a series, there's so much interest in like music, and it's great. I love it, and like whenever I listen to a Doctor Who music soundtrack, like one of my favorites is from Series 4. dazzling end when they were at the end of Journey's End when they're all in the TARDIS and they saved
Yeah.
they saved it. That's one of my favourite tracks. But
Mhm.
like as you say, in Partners of the Waves, my favourite one in the Partners of the Waves is you know the scene just before Rose gets locked in the TARDIS.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that scene where the Doctor goes back into the TARDIS in and out and just before Rose gets locked in the TARDIS and sent back to Earth. I love that scene. I love the music to it, and
Yeah.
I think that's what makes Doctor Who why we love it so much.
Mm.
And nothing against the show, the music composer that's recently done it under the last era with Jodie, the 30th Doctor. Nothing against the music. I just think for me on that music, I just think it wasn't loud enough to me, and it wasn't. I don't know, like it wasn't the same because I think it would have been better maybe if a companion had a music soundtrack for themselves,
Mm.
not just like a background track like you do in a movie. Like
Yeah.
I think I just would like that to be back. Um,
Yeah, I noticed with sound, some of the sound mixing during, especially during Chibnall's era, was not that great, to be honest with you. I felt like it just lacked punch, as you can say. Like it lacked the punch of, yeah. I think there were one or two episodes that did get it right. I think it was the Demons of the Punjab because it had these Indian instruments, which I really do like. I like all this world music sort of stuff, and especially like Japanese instruments as well. And I like different instruments that come from around the world. But for me, overall, yeah, just it just didn't lack the punch. And it'll be interesting to see where the music goes with Russell T Davis's second era as showrunner at the end of the day, and that. So we'll see how it
yeah,
goes.
it's fingers crossed. It's all going to be good, but I think we know it's going to be good, don't we, Barry? We know it's going to work out this time.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, definitely the marketing is a lot better already under Russell T Davis. I don't know whose fault it was with the marketing during Chibnall's era.
Yeah.
Don't want to point any fingers, to be honest with you, but I will say the marketing.
Yeah, because because we're getting all these announcements now, aren't we, for the 60th? And
Yeah,
I still think that at some point this year we will find out who the composer is, music composer of the 60th, because I don't know if it will be the same person for series 14. It's going to be interesting. I think that's an announcement that Russell was waiting to say.
yeah,
Um, but like you say, like with the Power of the Doctor, for example, it took us till maybe 2 weeks before it released to get anything about it, any news or the trailer didn't even get released to like just a week and a half before the episode release. So it's much better now, like you say. Like we've even got a full length trailer, really, um, for the specials. Um,
mhm,
but I believe that's only a special one. You know that trailer that we got at Christmas
yeah,
last
yeah.
year. I believe that is only special one because I wouldn't have thought they would release footage of every single special because they want to keep us like surprised a little bit.
Yeah, that you got to though nowadays with television, and especially with social media and that, where people want to know what's going on, where they're being filmed, and yeah, yeah, yeah. You know where I'm going and that,
Yeah, yeah.
and just mention, you never ever know. Going saying again though, we're recording this in February. You never know. There could be a change where they might have announced the composer by the time this podcast actually
Maybe.
comes out. Yeah,
Maybe,
yeah.
because we're not too long from as we're recording this, it's nearly Red Nose Day, so perhaps that in the past they're known for announcements on Red Nose Day, so perhaps we
Mm.
might get one on Red Nose Day. Who knows, Barry?
Yeah, who knows indeed. Who
Yeah,
knows?
who knows? I hope we do.
Yeah.
I do want one, because I think we'll be getting ones like some points in the year, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I think.
Don't forget children in need. Children in need has always been, well, to anybody who's listening outside of the UK, Children in Need, like Red Nose Day, is like a charity event that is broadcast on the BBC. And yeah, we sometimes see clips of Doctor Who or whatever on Children in Need. So,
Yeah.
because Doctor Who is also, its main audience is children, because when Hartnell started, it was basically for kids, and then it got more into adults. later on down the line, especially during the Troughton era and that. But that's just me from watching the episodes, though, really. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be cool, and I've always been saying I think each special will be like at least an hour and a half long. I would have thought. And like I think that because Doctor Who Day this year is on a weekday, so so as you said, you're used to like in the classic era of Doctor Who, Barry, get episodes out in a midweek. It looks like that might be happening for these specials to get released. Like the first one will definitely get released on a weekday on the 23rd of November.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's all I can say on that, really, to be
Yeah,
fair.
yeah. I think we've pretty much covered Doctor Who really.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say about the games. I just want to backtrack on that. But before I ask you to a couple of things. Before we finish. Um, like with the games, I like getting like the disc copies as well. But when the two games come out, I didn't get a disc copy because I was that desperate to play it because it's not often you get a Doctor Who game nowadays, is it? Um,
No,
uh,
no.
and like I remember the last one I got was probably on the DS. Is like was Top Trumps, like
Yeah, I've heard of those. Yeah,
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 I love that game. I would love a Top Trumps game, like a more up to date one because I spent hours on that. And the Matt Smith one they had, I think it was on the computer. Like they had a Doctor Who website, didn't they, where you could play all different Doctor Who games
yeah,
on
yeah.
the
That's
computer.
true. Yeah,
And I used to play that when I was younger. But I just wish I like the games that they released. But I don't think they're like you're not gonna go brag about it, are you? You're not gonna brag about Lonely Assassins, even though we say it was good. But it's not that. It's not like a game that like maybe we like, but we don't. Also, it's not like our favorite game of all time.
no, no, absolutely not, absolutely not. I would brag a little bit about Lonely Assassins because it's a very, very good game, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't put it on my list of favorite games. I would say, yeah, it's a good game. I enjoy it a lot, and that's it.
yeah,
Really.
yeah. And I think for the game that we are looking for, the two games I would love. For actually three games. Doctor Who games for the future. One Top Trumps, as I said, I would love a Top Trumps game. Um, on PlayStation or something. And
Yeah.
another game, Lego Doctor Who. I think Lego were
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt you there. I actually had the Lego Dimensions Doctor Who set with being Peter Capaldi, and I had so much fun with that.
Yeah.
So it was brilliant. Sorry, you carry on
Yeah,
though, buddy.
yeah. But the thing is, Barry, we've had Doctor Who games maybe in Batman or like you say, but we need an actual Doctor Who game set for Doctor Who, not on addition of another game. Like have a game where you could be maybe the Doctors. What I think they could do with that is each Doctor has their favorite, like their best episode. So how they will work this out is they will go back in the history of Doctor Who episodes per series, and they would look at the stats and they would see what is the most popular episode, and they would pick that episode. If it's a two-parter, they have to pick the two parts story. So I think that that's the best way to do it, or just
Hmm.
put as many episodes as you can in there, or which leads on to my third game, which would be the best game ever. Would be an open world Doctor Who game where you can customize your own Doctor, uh, customize your own TARDIS, and customize everything, and then you can travel the world and do whatever you want. Really, that is my ideal Doctor Who game.
Cool, cool. I think that's good, mate. I think that's very,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, which I would love. I mean, I think we will be getting more sort of Doctor Who games now because of Disney Plus, and they will give funding, I think, to other Doctor Who games now because I think that's the good way forward. I think, Barry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember seeing some things online where people would do these Disney-tized cartoons of Doctor, and yeah, now it's becoming a reality, really, at the end of the day.
It is for sure. It is. And I would like this TARDIS to take me away somewhere in the
Mm.
universe, but as we know, it's a wardrobe.
I know, but that's good to know. For
Yeah,
me personally, I'd be happy to stay on Earth at the end of the day, just do a couple of adventures
yeah,
all together, and that's it, really. I just want to stay back on Earth, really. Maybe it's just my age at the end of the day,
yeah,
you know. So there you go.
yeah. Great. Last two things before we finish, Barry. Um,
Yes.
um, like first, did you have a little think about like if you have a quote that you relate to or your favorite quote in Doctor Who at all?
Yes, I do have one. And it was one of Matt Smith's very first lines. Geronimo!
That is that is a great one.
Yeah,
I love that one.
yeah. It was a bit of a shame it wasn't used more often, but I think it was used like a couple of more times after that. But it was like he didn't use it so much in the end, but it was good. It illustrated his doctor going in for an adventure, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely, and I love that, like you say that, Barry, because it is great. It's one of my favorites as well. Like I love Alan Z from David Tennant as well. I love the catchphrase each Doctor gets. I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
Um, and the last thing, do you have any like advice for anyone who autistic as well, or just any advice about autism for your own journey and experience?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a difficult one though to answer though, really. But I
Yeah,
will say this though, really. To parents or anybody who has autism or any friends who are worried about someone who is autistic, don't worry about it at all. I know times are tough, hard times are there, but they always pull through no matter what. Yeah, you're gonna face some difficulties no matter what at the end of the day. But there's always a life around the corner. There's always something really positive about it. Yeah, there are some negatives to it, but just try and weasel out some of the negatives and think about what is positive about your life. You got someone, yeah, who's alive, who could be talented in a certain way. They might know they might think differently, but at the same time, it's a unique talent, it's a unique thing. Yeah, they're probably going to have autism for the rest of their life. I know it can be daunting, but I think it's a brilliant thing though to have. At least though they're with you, alive, well, happy with you at the end of the day, and they're part of your life, and they make you feel very, very special. If you recognize that special thing in them, then to me, I feel like yeah, you understand what autism actually is at the end of the day.
yeah.
Night,
D-
Dad.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you, Barry, for that.
Yeah,
That's great because I completely agree with your advice and just supporting people, like especially parents, because it can be hard.
yeah,
I think as well. But yeah, thank you, Barry, for that. I love your quote. I love speaking about Doctor Who with your autism, music, gaming. I could go on all day about everything we spoke about, but we'll be here a long time.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, though, Mason, and that as well. Just for anybody who's also wondering as well, I don't do so much social media nowadays. I used to do Doctor Who reviews on YouTube before the channel hack and that. And like I said, I'm glad though I'm kind of like moving on from it. But I still appreciate Doctor Who for what it actually is worth at the end of the day. I may have some different feelings towards it though nowadays, but at the same time, I think I'm also excited about what is coming up for the future. So
yeah,
yeah, thank you
yeah,
so much.
yeah. Here's to the future.
Cheers.
Yeah. And thank you to everyone who's watched today and has listened. We hope you've enjoyed us speaking about autism our great interest in Doctor Who today as well. It's been great to speak with that with Barry and him sharing his experience with autism. So thank you again to everyone listening and watching, and a big thanks to Barry again. And we'll definitely hop on here again and do this again. But thank you again, Barry, and have a nice rest of your day.
Same to you, my friend. Good luck to you. Bye.